What is up, friends? We are back for another edition of The Drive presented by Oddschecker. It is me, Geoff Fienberg, with my friend Andy Lack. It is Genesis Invitational Week, not at Riviera, sadly. All our thoughts go out to everybody affected with the situations over in LA. My boy Andy here specifically as well. I know you've been dealing with a lot of horrible stuff, so sending my thoughts and prayers out to you and all those important to you. And again, I mean, it's a weird, hard to transition off of a comment like that, but waste management. Me and you both had a guy in the final group. You were on Burger. I was on Rasmus. No one
Yeah.
was able to track down Dietrich, who I've,
Oof.
stand for forever. Obviously, wasn't betting him last week. The past is the past. Maybe Detry is a dog, but we move to San Diego, back to Torrey Pines, a course that I love very much. A lot of golf fans, or at least what it brings us when the best players show up together. We were here a couple weeks ago. I was able to hit Harris English in that one, so I can't complain about any bad Torrey Pines juju. But Andy, you know this place all too well. I mean, we've had U.S. Opens here.
Yeah.
I know, like with a higher level elevated field, are you changing how you would bet this? Like history tells us high end players compete and win at Torrey Pines.
Well, I'm changing it based on the course conditions. And I won't do the giant in the weeds golf course breakdown of the agronomy at Torrey Pines and why I believe it's going to play different this week compared to the Torrey that we saw 2 weeks ago. I'll give you the super abridged version, which is that this area of Southern California has gotten a lot of rain, and we're going to get a lot more rain tournament week. And the Torrey Pines that we saw 2 weeks ago played super firm and fast because California had not gotten much rain. I mean, that was right before the fires, which were caused by a drought, essentially. Now the rain has come. And so, how that translates to how the golf course is going to play differently is that it's going to play longer. The rough is going to be thicker, and it's going to be softer. So, generally, people hear softer, longer, thicker rough, the golf course is going to play harder. Not really the case, to be honest with you. What makes golf courses play super hard is firm and fast conditions. So, I think the golf course is going to be an absolute bear this week, but I don't think it's actually going to play harder. It's just going to change the profile a little bit. So when it plays firm and fast, it's like overall approach play scramble fest. Harris English,
Yeah.
top of the leaderboard, was like all about approach play and scrambling. When Torrey Pines plays long and soft, Bomber City. And you look back at that 2024 leaderboard where it was softer. I was on property that week and it was soaking wet. And Pavone was a little bit of a red herring because once you got past Pavone, it was basically nine of the 12 longest players on the PGA Tour. So for me, I am looking at above average distance and long iron play. I think it's going to be a little cold, a little wet, a little bit soft, maybe a little bit easier than it was a couple of weeks ago, but it's going to change the profile, in my opinion.
With the elevated event and the super stacked top of, very top of the board, do you like, are you less inclined to, play further down the board, or do you got, I mean,
Well,
last week, me and you were both sort of 50, 45 and above. I got a feeling that's just not a winning recipe for Torrey Pines.
I'm hesitant to put blanket statements on certain takes like this because it's golf and it can all change in a week. But the reality of the situation is that the tier of the odds board past Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy has been overpriced for 2 years.
Yes, yes. Great point. I mean,
And the players that win signature events are Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, and like occasionally Wyndham
Wyndham
Clark
Clark.
or
Yeah.
Kurt Kitayama. Colin Morikawa doesn't win signature events. Justin Thomas doesn't win signature events. Patrick Cantlay doesn't win signature events. Ludwig Gobert doesn't win signature events. Sung J M doesn't win signature events. Sam Burns doesn't win signature events. Tony Finau doesn't win signature. Well, I guess Finau's now priced in the 50s,
The
but
amount of wind drought in that group in the next tier,
they
it
don't.
truly It is phenomenal how much of a dead money pit it feels like that tier has been. I sometimes will act as an apologist for Ludwig. Maybe he shouldn't be held to the same like term limits
Well,
as
I
some
don't
of
have
the.
any issues with Ludwig 25, but you're talking to a
Yeah,
guy that
yeah,
has bet Ludwig
yeah, of
at
course.
2 to 1, and that's
Overpriced.
an end. Yeah.
Yes. And like you
Yeah.
said, everyone in that zone has been overpriced um
For
for
2 years.
for 2 years. So
Yeah.
let's get right into this then. Top of the odds board, it's two guys. It's Scotty, plus 425 is the best that I've seen. It is Rory McIlroy, had that win at Pebble. Scotty, 2 weeks, two. I mean, the engine is revving. I could see someone who wasn't on any part of Scotty for the previous weeks being like, you know what? I've seen enough. I want to do it. But Andy, if I had to make a pick here between the two,
Yeah.
I would bet Rory. If I
Yeah.
was forced to make an outright bet at the top here, I'm not looking to make a head to head because Rory's floor is probably a lot lower than Scotty's. We see that with how they finish. But picking a winner from the very top, I lean Rory over Scotty.
100% agree with you. I mean, based on the course conditions that I just laid out for you, if there's ever a spot on the PGA Tour where Rory should be able to close the gap on Scotty based on his skill set, this would be the golf course for that. Because what's the one thing? There's only one thing in golf that Rory McIlroy can do consistently better than Scotty over a large sample size, and that's carry distance. So this is a golf course that carry distance is going to be accentuated. I agree with you. I contemplated the Rory single bullet, but I mean, I had a lot of success I bet 11 guys last week and I didn't come through with Dietrich, but I had a guy in the final group. I had a guy in the second to last final group. And I had like, if there wasn't for Thomas Dietrich, I would have had like six guys within four entering Sunday, right? And so, I'm flooding the zone again, man.
I like it.
I've bet five guys thus far between 45 and 100, and I have room for more.
Yeah, I've got three in that range. It's sort of the exact same range I was betting into last week. I am just once I decide I'm not betting the two at the very top, Ludwig at 25 attracts is calls to me, Andy. As just like a fan of the guy, I almost want to like how do I put it? Like ever like show you guys what he's really gonna do here after the flu thing a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like I almost want to like be cocky and do that. He really is the high end player in that next tier that I'd be willing to back, but you've said it. Underperforming and overpriced. Everyone here, and I'm tempted to skip all of them and start at 50. Ludwig 25 to 1. I mentioned Hideki 25 to 1. He won. Well, I guess he won the Genesis last year, different course. But him playing as much golf as he's been playing lately, I think is a great sign and probably tells me he's like a horse feeling great. I've seen Cantley drift to 35. Um, so unlike some of the other players, at least he is drifting. Like he is now in a tier with Jason Day. So I could see how that could be pretty tempting. But thus far, I've bet none of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm still leaving myself room. Like I have if I can't like 35 is intriguing to me. I mean that's starting to get into territory where I could feel pretty comfortable, even though I don't think this is the perfect golf course for him by any means. But yeah, I mean, I have five guys from 45 to 100, and every single one of them has above average distance off the tee. Um, and every single one of them is either a great putter or a great long iron player as well. So
So
I've made the narrative pretty quickly. You want me to just run through them?
yeah, I mean, listen, I've got one guy in this like 40 to 60 thus far, and it is
Who's
Taylor
your one
Pendrith.
guy? You go first. You go
I
first.
bet Taylor Pendrith at
Yeah,
50 to
me too.
1 this morning. I bet him a couple weeks ago at Pebble, which was a shorter course. But if you've been following me for a bit, like I'm just kind of all in on Pendrith. I wish I was getting a higher number, but in the end, when I saw a lot of the books post and staring at the odds checker grid, it was the 50 that I did pull this morning on Pendrith. I'd still like it at 45. I've seen it go a bit lower. So that's my shortest guy thus far. Not saying it'll end that way. Where did you start?
I'm with you on Pendrith. I bet Jason Day 45 to 1. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the golf course history here speaks for itself. I mean, he's been phenomenal at Torrey Pines. He's also hitting his irons really, really well. And historically one of the best pull putters in the field, and he still pumps it out there a pretty long way. Um, I think that he is above average at everything that I'm looking at this week. I bet Tony Finau 50 to 1,
Been
you know.
staring at that literally as you talked me through how I might need to attack the profile. He felt like the Torrey Pines old yeller who's never come through here, who I was certain one day would. Um, yeah, as you were going through it at the top, Andy, that was the name that stuck out
Yeah.
to me. So I like where your
Yeah.
head is at
And
there.
then it's a pretty Andy and Jeff coded
Yeah.
card because I also have Adam Scott at 90 to 1.
Yeah, we did a show a lot last year. You know how much I love Adam Scott. That is a bet that I haven't made. So you said you mentioned Scott, you mentioned Pendrith, you mentioned Day, and
Wyndham
Fee.
Clark 100 to 1 and Finau. That's
Oh
my
yeah,
five.
we are in simpatico, and I swear to you, other than trying to schedule a time for me and Andy to do this today, we certainly did not talk about golfers. Wyndham Clark. I know it's corny to say first click, but Wyndham Clark 100 to 1, Andy. That was
On
my
golf
first bet
course.
this
Yeah.
morning. Honestly, I don't even hate it if it's like down to 90 or 80 because 100 seems so fair.
Yeah.
He has a knack for elevating himself in these elevated events. Clearly, likes California. Clearly, player, the profile of what you're telling me I want here this week. Clearly, like check, check, check. And he's got that absolute ability to spike and ceiling and win. And a lot of guys don't. Leave it at that.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. I thought 100, which I believe is still available on FanDuel as we record
Yeah.
this on Monday evening. I thought that was I mean, he's shown that he can win signature events on big boy golf courses. He was a first round leader last week at Phoenix. So the signs are there. He's trending in the right direction. Just bomber putter, right? I mean, he can gain a sizable advantage for himself off the tee and get crazy hot on the greens, which I think is a very solid roadmap to success at Torrey. If you're not going to have the elite approach play, which Wyndham doesn't have, to pair with off the tee skill, you got to have the putting upside, and Wyndham has that in spades. So, I have room. I think if I'm swimming around who to add, probably like Zalatoris, maybe.
So
Um,
he seems very popular. I mean, he was popular when we were here a couple weeks ago at like 20 to
yeah.
1, obviously a worse
I
field.
think
He-
Hovland is like one or two tournaments away from
yeah.
being ready to win. Like, I just want to see for four more rounds. Like, I think people get. I thought what I saw at Pebble was very
But like,
encouraging.
the thing about Victor is like I know Victor can spike for a day and a half. Can he
Yeah,
spike for
I don't think he's
3 and
sharp
hold
enough
on
to
for a
win a
fourth
golf
and win
tournament.
golf tournaments again?
Yeah, I don't think he's sharp enough to win a golf tournament yet, but I'm monitoring. Like and with how much I love Victor, like I'm comfortable with, the negative to the argument that I'm laying out for you is that let's say Victor finishes fourth this week. Well, then
The
the next
number's
time
gone.
we want
Yeah.
to have Victor, he's going to be 20, 25 to 1 again. And this may be your only opportunity for the next 10 years to bet Victor Hovland at 60 to 1 in a 70-man field. I just, I think he's like four more rounds away. I just need to
There's
see
some
from,
things I just really don't trust that I don't know if I want to bet to win. Obviously, I'd feel silly if he does win, but you're not wrong, Andy. The thing about Victor is once it flashes, he will lose the number without someone catching a win.
yeah, we
And
will.
he'll be right back to in that mix with Ludwig or JT and those guys because he does garner respect in the market. Willie Z, if not for this weather situation, is that a trigger you might have already pulled? Or, I mean, he is the Torrey Pines
It is, it's almost more to me, like I think
beneficial.
the weather conditions are fine for him, not crazy positive or not crazy negative. I just like I think these guys are just not sharp enough to win. They're close. Like I feel like there's another step for Zalatoris and Hovland. Like, if Spieth won last week, it'd be really weird. But like after Spieth's performance in Phoenix, now you can be like, okay, like he took the next step, you know. Um, let's watch Victor and Zalatoris wet their beak in a golf tournament. We haven't seen Victor or Zalatoris hit meaningful golf shots down the stretch in a PGA Tour event in a long time. And I'm not ready for them to skip that step yet. I think
So,
both of them might contend this week. But there's one more step.
I mean, yeah, I totally agree with a lot of that.
Like at least if Jason Day or Taylor Pendrith or Wyndham Clark won this week, they wouldn't be skipping a step, right? Like Jason
Some of
Day
those
has
guys like Victor, like when they win and skip a step, you're not shocked because it's just in there.
no, yeah, yeah,
But I hear
yeah.
what you mean. I'm not ready to pull the trigger yet either. So I think a lot of us who do this weekly are probably in simpatico with you on that. Although, like, when you see Victor playing well and you didn't play that number, that can always sting. Sticking around Victor though, a guy who I has been very consistent with his results, but nothing like close, nothing popping yet. Who I think could be on the verge of something. I bet him last week. Batya, 100 to
Yeah.
ones for the win again. Um, the around the green will be an issue, but maybe I trust his ability to putt. I trust his ability to get it out there. California guy, so that would be another guy that I am looking at in this range.
No, I like it, Jeff. I like the Batia call for the most part. What did you get hit? What is his number at?
He's 100 at FanDuel,
Yeah, it's a good number for sure. I will certainly be swimming around that one as well.
and
Um,
um, I guess I should mention that oddschecker right now has a new Discord channel for our community. There's a link to that in the comments. I'll be joining up as well as signing up this week. You might catch me in there, but check that out. The link is in the comments. Andy, we've mentioned a few guys. We've gone up to 100 to 1. It is an elevated event. Anything like if I said Andy Lack, I guess we already gave Wyndham Clark. But find me a triple digit winner not named Wyndham Clark who might be calling to you.
mean, Woodland, I just don't think it like can Woodland win. I mean,
I
I
don't know.
really like Woodland course fit here. Aaron Rye is like a truly insane long iron player that despite not having the carry distance that I'm looking for, he's one of the guys that can make up for it with elite long iron play. Probably about it for me.
Yeah,
I think
probably
Aaron
about
Rye
it.
and Woodland are my favorite course fits, 100 plus.
Can you clarify something for me? I should know this. I'm going to out myself a little. How big is the cut? There's a cut, right?
Um, isn't it top 50 in ties?
I know elevated events
Ties
don't
in the
normally have
field?
a cut, but Tiger was adamant that his elevated event would have a cut.
I don't get it totally, to be honest with you, when you have 70 players, but I think that the signature event should be 100 players to 60.
Yep, that
What
would
you think?
that would sound lovely. Honestly, I don't have a other than Wyndham Clark and Baccia, like I do not have another triple digit winner to share, Andy. So that wraps it up for me. But as I mentioned, I do have room. Like if I want to add a Ludwig or a Patrick Cantley, like I certainly could do that or see myself flooding the zone more by just riding your guy Finau and throwing in another body. But I don't know. So far this year, like want to avoid that like money pit of that second tier.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if you had to choose real quick,
Ludwig,
yeah.
like on the spot, just can get it out there. Yeah, you'd think this is a perfect place for him, despite some of the struggles that we had a couple weeks ago. Hopefully, he got some rest. He's no longer sick. That would be hopeful. certainly if you are betting him. Odds checker though, football season's over, so I'm still using odds checker for everything, even when I want to go check out on odds in a major or something. I love that grid, and watching the game is great. Winning on it is even better. Odds checker gives you AI powered insights and real time odds. So you can spot trends, find value, and turn your knowledge into action. Why just watch when you can be part of the action? Visit Odds Checker now and get in the game. Odds Checker is for entertainment purposes only and does not offer real money betting. Remember, gambling should be fun, so bet responsibly. If you know someone who has a gambling problem, help is available. Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. Andy, should be great TV this week on the Vistas of La Jolla, California. Torrey Pines, it's always, for the most part, when the great players get together, an exciting and fun finish. I'm expecting another one this week. Hopefully, we can find our way into winner's circle.
Me as well, buddy. Best of luck this week as always. And let's hit a winner, man.
Yeah, Wyndham, 100-1. Catch
Love
it.
it.
For Andy, I'm Geoff. We will see you next week. They head to Mexico before Florida, which is always fun. And soon we'll be into major season, friends. So smash that like button, subscribe to the OC channel. You won't miss our videos. We'll be back every week. For Andy, I'm Geoff. We're out.